El Clasico is frequently mischaracterized by the global media as just a competition between two football clubs. In reality, the rivalry between Real Madrid Club de Football and Football Club Barcelona is a socio-political war. It's the manifestation of Spain's historic conflict, the central traditionalism and power of the Spanish capital versus the regionalism, pride, and distinct cultural identity of Catalonia. To understand El Clasico is to understand the profound and frequently violent fractures in modern Spanish history. While the clubs first met in 1902 during the Copa de la Coronación, the rivalry did not instantly turn into a militarized feud as it is today. The true sporting animosity was ignited during the 1916 Copa del Rey semifinals, a chaotic four-game saga that planted the original seed of Barcelona's enduring belief that the Spanish sporting establishment was always rigged against them. In an era before penalty shootouts or away goals, that match needed a winner. In the first leg, Barcelona secured a 2-1 victory on the back of goals from legendary forward Paulino Alcantara. Real Madrid answered in the second leg with a 4-1 win, courtesy of a hat-trick from a young forward named Santiago Bernabeu. That tiebreaker, however, descended into chaos. The match was officiated by Jose Berraundo, a man who happened to be a former Real Madrid player. Berraundo awarded Real Madrid 3 highly contested penalties during the match. While Barcelona's goalkeeper saved 2, Santiago Bernabeu converted the third in the 118th minute of extra time to salvage a 6-6 draw. In the subsequent second replay, again refereed by Berraundo because, as I said, they needed a victor, but since there were no penalty shootouts or away games, the match had to be replayed again. In the second replay as well, it was the same referee. Real Madrid in that game took a 4-2 lead. Outraged by what they perceived as blatant corruption, the Barcelona players walked off the pitch in protest with 7 minutes remaining. That moment is when the sporting divide was officially born. That was the sporting divide. But the ideological divide was forged in the fires of the Spanish Civil War, which ran from 1936 to 1939, and the subsequent reign of General Francisco Franco. During this era, Barcelona transformed from a regional football club to a symbol of potent anti-fascist Catalan resistance. In August 1936, a defining tragedy occurred. FC Barcelona president Josep Sunyol, a prominent figure in the pro-independence political party Esquerra Republicana de Catalunya, was traveling in the Guadarrama mountains near Madrid. His driver accidentally crossed into a fascist checkpoint. Sunyol was arrested, subjected to a mock trial, and unlawfully executed by Francoist troops without a proper burial. Following the war, the regime strictly prohibited the use of the Catalan language and flag. Everything related to Catalonia, their language, their cultures, traditions, football clubs, everything was banned. Barcelona's stadium at that time, Les Corts, became one of the only safe places where Catalans could legally gather, speak their mother tongue, and express their cultural identity, birthing the club's motto, Més que un club, more than a club. The hostility reached its most grotesque sporting conclusion on June 13, 1943, during the semi-final of the Copa del Generalissimo. Barcelona had dominated the first leg 3-0. Before the second leg in Madrid, the Barcelona players were visited in their dressing room by Spain's Director of State Security. According to historical accounts from players and journalists, he reminded the team that they were only allowed to play due to the regime and the dictator's generosity in allowing them to remain in the country. Intimidated by that and fearful for their safety, Barcelona took the pitch and lost the match 11-1. It remains the most lopsided result in El Clasico history, but for Catalonia, it stands as the ultimate historical proof of violent state-sponsored oppression. Barcelona's president, Enrique Pinheiro, resigned in disgust at that shortly after. If the 1940s established the political animosity, the 1950s became a full-blown out war for the best players in the world. The flashpoint was the transfer saga in 1953 involving Alfredo Di Stéfano, a player that both Barcelona and Real Madrid wanted to sign, and that caused an event that would change Spanish football history forever. Di Stéfano, an Argentine forward, was playing for Millonarios in Colombia, but due to a complex FIFA ruling, his official registration rights were set to go back to his former club River Plate in 1954. In the summer of 1953, FC Barcelona negotiated directly with River Plate, agreeing to an $87,000 transfer fee. The deal was signed, and Di Stéfano even traveled to Spain to join Barcelona. However, Real Madrid's visionary president Santiago Bernabeu intervened. Bypassing River Plate, Bernabeu negotiated a parallel agreement directly with Millonarios. The Spanish Football Federation, heavily influenced by political pressure from the capital, intervened to resolve this legal absurdity of two clubs owning the same player. The federation then proposed an absolutely crazy idea. Real Madrid and Barcelona can both sign Alfredo Di Stéfano, and he will play one season for each club, alternating between them every season. Humiliated by the ruling, Barcelona president Enric Martí Carrero resigned in protest. The club ultimately relinquished their half of the rights, allowing Real Madrid to completely sign him. Di Stéfano transformed Real Madrid from just a domestic contender into a global royalty. He eventually was part of the team that led Real Madrid to 5 consecutive European Cups from 1956 to 1960. Barcelona was left with sadness and grief, convinced that the bureaucracy and the dictatorship had robbed them of their own big dynasty. By the late 1960s, the tension spilled over from the football pitch to outright public disorders. In the 1968 Copa del Rey final held at the Santiago Bernabeu, Barcelona defeated Real Madrid 1-0. Madrid fans were so angry by the performance of referee Antonio Rigo, whom they said had Catalan roots or accused them of Catalan bias, threw hundreds of glass bottles at him and the Barcelona players from the stands. This event went down in history as the final of the bottles and forced a nationwide ban on the sale of glass containers in Spanish stadiums. 2 years later, the boiling point was reached with the Emilio Guruceta scandal. On June 6, 1970, the teams met in the Copa del Generalissimo quarterfinals at the Camp Nou. Real Madrid had won the first leg 2-0, but Barcelona was leading the return leg 1-0 and dominating the game. Around the hour mark, referee Emilio Guruceta awarded Real Madrid a penalty, which was very controversial at that time because photographic and video evidence clearly showed that the foul occurred roughly 2 meters outside the penalty box. Barcelona captain Eladio was sent off for sarcastically applauding the referee. The decision sparked a massive pitch invasion. Furious Barcelona fans hurled thousands of seat cushions into the grass, forcing the match to be abandoned. Guruceta was escorted out by police and later suspended for 6 months for provoking a public order conflict. In Catalonia, the phrase "a Guruceta penalty" became a permanent insult for institutional theft. The ideological gap widened into a strict tactical divide with the arrival of Johan Cruyff at Barcelona in 1973. The Dutch player instantly won over the Catalan crowd by saying and proving that he chose to play for Barcelona over Real Madrid because he did not want to support the dictatorship. He immediately proved his worth, leading Barcelona to a famous 5-0 victory at the Santiago Bernabeu in February 1974 and securing their first La Liga title in 14 years. To cement his cultural allegiance, he defied Spanish law at that time by naming his son Jordi, a traditional Catalan name. Now, remember what I said, at that time when Franco was dictator, everything related to Catalonia was banned. Catalan names, Catalan books, Catalan language, Catalan music, everything was banned. But despite that, Johan Cruyff named his son a Catalan name, Jordi. Cruyff's true legacy, however, was forged when he returned as manager in 1988 to institute the Dream Team era. He mandated the implementation of total football and established the developmental blueprint for La Masia, which became Barcelona's youth academy. And from that point onward, the two Clasico clubs separated into their own philosophies and identities. Barcelona started prioritizing homegrown talent trained from childhood to play a strict possession-based 4-3-3 system, while Real Madrid doubled down on their historical identity. Los Blancos were the ultimate destination for the world's most established, dominant superstars, a strategy that eventually formalized into the Galactico policy. The transition into the 21st century was marked by the ultimate psychological blow. In July 2000, Florentino Perez ran for the presidency of Real Madrid with a shocking promise. If elected, he would sign Luis Figo, Barcelona's captain and fan favorite. Perez had secretly secured a pre-contract with Figo's agent Jose Veiga, ensuring that if Perez won, he would trigger Figo's 10,000 million pesetas buyout clause. Florentino Perez eventually won, and Figo moved to the Spanish capital. The transfer weaponized modern football economics. It was a hostile takeover of a rival's most prized player. To Barcelona fans, Figo was a trader who abandoned his adopted home for financial gain. When Figo returned to Camp Nou on November 23, 2002, the hostility reached frightening levels. Every time Figo approached the corner flag to take a kick, he was showered with debris, including coins, lighters, and glass bottles. The referee was forced to suspend the match for 16 minutes for the players' safety. During the chaos, television cameras captured a severed pig's head resting on the grass near the corner flag. That image went viral, it went global, and it's still seen as one of the most striking images of that whole transfer saga. El Clasico reached an unprecedented peak of quality and pure toxicity in the era of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, specifically when managed by Pep Guardiola for Barcelona and Jose Mourinho for Real Madrid between 2009 and 2013. That era was the ultimate distillation of the club's contrasting identities. Guardiola's Barcelona utilized a golden generation of La Masia graduates, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, to play tiki-taka, which is a suffocating, possession-heavy style that humiliated Madrid 5-0, which is now called as La Manita, in November 2010. In response, Mourinho built a Real Madrid team optimized for devastating high-speed physical counterattacks, specifically to destroy Barcelona's rhythm by any means necessary. In the spring of 2011, the teams were scheduled to play an exhausting 4 times in 18 days across La Liga, Copa del Rey final, and the Champions League semi-finals. That 3-week period featured so many brawls, a red card for Madrid's Pepe, and press conferences that turned out into dark psychological warfare. That tension culminated in the Santiago Bernabeu press room before the Champions League semi-final, where Guardiola snapped, delivering a very explosive speech sarcastically crowning Mourinho the puto amo of the media. Months later, during the August 2011 Supercopa, a touchline brawl erupted where Mourinho was caught on camera gouging the eye of Barcelona assistant coach Tito Villanova. This era elevated El Clasico from a national obsession to the most watched, most scrutinized annual sporting event on the planet, routinely drawing over 600 million global viewers. Across over a century of Spanish football, through dictatorships, financial crises, and tactical revolutions, the historical ledger remains agonizingly close. Both teams in this fixture have around 100 wins each in the last 100 years or so, and it remains one of the most spectacular fixtures in world football. Players retire, managers are sacked, Galacticos are brought in, Academy La Masia products take over the world, but still, the magic of El Clasico doesn't refuse to dilute. It survives because there is always gonna be that underlying tension that is not just a football game. It's not even a proper derby because the teams are not even based in the same city. It is an absolute political, social, and cultural war on the football pitch. It's not just another derby. It's not just another fixture on the Spanish football calendar. This is war. This is the aftermath of dictatorship and revolution and identity and the whole political spectrum of Spain and its history. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to drop a like and subscribe to La Liga Vic. It would mean a lot to me if you guys subscribe and let me know what you think of this video. Well, I'll be coming back with another banger of a video soon. So until that time, ciao.